Hello, everyone. I'm Shani Danhuma. I'm a product marketing manager at LeanIX, and today I have the pleasure to speak with our CEO, Andre Chris from LeanIX, and we will talk about the most recent additions to our product portfolio. So I'm super excited, and welcome, Andre.
Hi, Michelle. A pleasure to speak to you.
Great. So let's dive right into it. And congratulations, first of all, to all the exciting news that LeanIX shared over the last couple of weeks. So from acquiring Cleanshelf to launching Microservice Intelligence, it must have been quite a ride. So can you please elaborate a bit about your experience, and especially during these remote times?
Yeah, clearly. Look, launching new software or acquiring a company doesn't go overnight. It takes preparation, it takes work of the teams. And I can really say, it's been a journey. So when we started thinking about the topic was actually probably 2 years ago, when we thought, how can we actually expand over the enterprise architecture category, and what are typical use cases and problems of organizations who adopt more the cloud native way of developing and producing software, and how they will manage in the future the application portfolios. It was influenced by a number of conversations with CIOs we had in the past, were telling us, look, can you help us either managing more growing SaaS applications, or how do we better support our product teams when they build own software? So that's why after a longer journey, which probably started more than 2 years ago, we're super excited now to have, on the one hand side, our new Microservice Intelligence product out to the market, and on the other hand side, have a new company, Cleanshelf, joining LeanIX, and now an offering which we call SaaS Intelligence.
Yeah, great. So LeanIX promotes continuous transformation, and you just quickly introduced it a bit. Now, can you please go a bit more into details how the new products complement our product portfolio?
Yeah, when we started LeanIX more than 9 years ago, our intention was to bring enterprise architecture actually to everyone. So what this means to us is, in the past, enterprise architecture was a topic just for the big corporates. And we said, no, it's also going to be a topic for mid-sized companies, if not smaller companies. So that's the one angle. The other angle was enterprise architecture in the past was very much just with the architects in a company. And we always thought, well, it's also equally important for many other roles in the organization, for all the way from business analysts, application developers, procurement, security, all the way to developers and application owners. So it's much broader. So that meant for us bringing it to everyone. And by now, actually, IT has changed a lot. So companies have refocused building their own software. It's no longer that they just have project management, but they're moving much more in-house, and also using a lot of software as a service by now to manage the employees' workspace, but also on a business level. So all the way from SAP S/4HANA, Office 365, Salesforce, and so on. Overall, if we look at that, the complexity has increased. So it's getting incrementally harder to get an overview about all of that. So it's not so easy to understand, how can I leverage synergies, and how can I create a complete visibility of all of that? So this is where LeanIX comes into play, where we can now provide an overview and deep insights all the way from software as a service, over application portfolios, technology risks, to what is deployed in the cloud and what teams are building as software. So we're kind of an end-to-end solution from corporate IT to product IT today.
Yeah, that sounds like a quite unique approach. And speaking of customers and stakeholders, so from your point of view, who would benefit from that offering as a complete offering?
Yeah, I think one of the unique points which I observe in today's customer organizations is that the split between the internal IT and the development teams, and often called the product IT, that is converging. So and it's very easy to explain. If you build a new software, an app for a new use case, you can't have that standalone. We all know it needs data from the backend systems. The user doesn't want to sign in multiple times. So your profile, which has been created for example, in a banking platform, you also want to use that in your modern app. And that's why it's so important that those two worlds get much better connected. If you think about the different stakeholders of our product offering, then the enterprise architecture is clearly a core and an important role. It's traditionally in the CIO organization, but more often, of course, now also in the CTO organization, and playing a bigger role for the security part. They are the coordinating people who make sure that the company builds out the right capabilities, that they take the decisions between making own software or buying software from the market, or rolling out big transformation programs in the organization. Then there is the role of the CFO or the IT procurement. They see the increasing challenge in front of them, where they have a growing SaaS portfolio. In the last 12 months, we've seen that the adoption of SaaS with platforms like Zoom and Teams and so on has increased so much. So it's so much more difficult to get an overview of all of that. And by now, because SaaS is so easy to acquire, to purchase, there's a lot of that going on, and it's good so. But it's good for the organization to get that overview, to make actually sure that all those SaaS systems are really used. And then there's the Cloud Center of Excellence, to provide them with up-to-date visibility into thousands of instances. So some of our customers run hundreds of different cloud accounts where the different development teams are working on. So with that setup, which is very decentral, it's actually not easy to get that overview. And so this is a key topic we're helping with. And then last but not least, we're seeing great use cases in the area of self-built microservices, APIs. So keeping an overview about hundreds of APIs, and we had just a great customer success story from our customer OneMain Financial, who demonstrated how they keep track of all their hundreds of APIs within their portfolio. So what I would say is, it's powered by automation. You create a really trusted data source. And based on that, you can have a much better decision-taking, fact-based, data-driven, in order to optimize your IT landscape. So this is all how it's coming all together for the different roles in an organization.
Yeah, thank you on that. And thinking about SaaS intelligence, or the acquisition of Cleanshelf and enterprise architecture, which has a bit more of a business-oriented focus. With Microservice Intelligence, we're now venturing more into the product IT. And can you be a bit more specific here? Why did you actually decide to build that and to bring it to the market?
Yeah, if I observe LeanIX's own journey in the last 9 years, we have been born as a cloud native company. Ever since the beginning, our software was built in a way we could deploy it into the cloud platforms. We're using microservice containers and of course DevOps as a way to run our teams. What I observe is this is accelerating in companies, and it's becoming the common practice in up to the largest corporations in the world. So they are all going for this paradigm, and it's not easy to lose, and it's not easy to keep track of what's the purpose of the microservice, who's responsible of it. So over time, there is the need with this growing portfolio of services you're building to actually have that at one single place, so that all your decentral teams can have an understanding what's out there. Why is that the case? Well, site reliability engineering is a concept to make sure that actually your products are up all the time, and that you quickly figure out if there's an issue, if there's a bug, or if there's a downtime, that you actually take care of that. And what is so important right now is to quickly identify the dependencies up and downstream of a service. So today, in the world where you have smaller pieces of software, which is solving one problem, it's not so easy anymore to understand what is actually then downstream the effect if one of those components goes down. So this is one of the areas where it has an advantage to get that visibility for a site reliability engineer. And then it's of course important to create an attractive environment for DevOps teams. You have to quicker onboard developers in such a setup, and members of the teams are changing also. having a good documentation in place about all the services which are out there is super important, and also detect orphaned microservices who are no longer in responsibility by any of the teams. That is another key use case. Based on this transparency of the whole microservice landscape, there are further use cases like managing the open source licenses. So adhering to the requirements of open source, managing the technology lifecycle, that you really understand what is going out of life as a technology over time. How is the data flowing, for example, from the APIs to consumers of the APIs? That is a key topic, why it's so important to have that visibility. How does it work? What we do is we surface the metadata right from the DevOps toolchain. So we hook into systems like GitHub Actions, into Jenkins, into Azure, and then read the data out from there with all the dependencies. We also augment that with data from Kubernetes, and also factor in the data we discover in the cloud providers. And then we create a catalog of all the services connected with the dependency and providing visualization capabilities for simple navigation, efficient analysis in order to share the knowledge within the teams. So that's actually what our microservice intelligence offering is all about.
Yeah, thanks for that. And I believe you summarized it quite nicely. So LeanIX sets out to bring transparency into IT landscapes and bring data from disconnected and various sources together. Now, looking at our existing customers, what can they expect with our diversifying portfolio, and how will it affect them?
I believe that the foundation for a modern IT organization is to be completely data-driven. And I think over the last couple of years, we've been fortunate to work with some of the modern organizations and learned a lot from them where they need to go. And we gave them a foundation for all that data. I think the collaboration within the organization is extremely important. No longer it's just a few architects or a few IT managers in the organization who need to understand the roadmap, but it needs to be much broader. And last but not least, the automation becomes so important, because as we move into a cloud native world, the number of services increasing so much, the opportunities to deploy a service across the different hyperscalers are so vast. And also, if you think about software as a service, the ecosystem out there of software as a service system is growing so fast. You cannot do and document all of that manually anymore. That's why automation is crucial. And therefore, we believe having all of that in one platform, then in just separated tools, in order to rely on the same metadata, is so important to take decisions, analyze issues, identify optimizations much faster than you can do it by just capturing that in Excel spreadsheets or trying to correlate different data sources. So LeanIX does this job for you and helps you take actions on the data. We believe that with our platform, the continuous transformation platform, we give different views on all the data, and the views are differentiated by the different roles. So either IT procurement, enterprise architects, site reliability engineers, DevOps teams, or cloud centers of excellence. And those different roles actually rely on consistent and high quality data, and then can improve their decision taking.
Final question. So let's imagine we're at the end of 2021 and look back on a successful year. What has LeanIX achieved by then?
Yeah, first of all, we rely heavily on the satisfaction of our customers and also on them taking a lot of value out of our solution. So clearly, with all the existing products and capabilities we've had over the last couple of 9 years, we want to make sure that our customers get the most out of that. So that's always our driving goal. But then, of course, it's important to us that we see and support those emerging use cases. Our ambition is to drive forward this discipline and evolve what enterprise architecture is today. So if we look back by the end of the year and see that enterprise architecture has evolved beyond the classical corporate IT and also has moved in and helped product IT with new capabilities for automating the dependencies in a cloud native environment, for automating the discovery of software as a service. And we can help our customers solving all the problems. Then this was a great year, actually. And for that, we're going to invest heavily in building out our capabilities, strengthening that, and supporting that with our customer success teams to make our customers really successful.
Great, thank you. Looking forward for the rest of 2021, and it was a pleasure speaking to you, Andre.
Yeah, same as well. Thank you, Michelle, for the great conversation.
Thanks.